What's going on YouTube, and thank you for checking out my channel Rock Guitar Now. This is my review of the NK Headless Guitar that you've been seeing pop up on AliExpress and eBay. You can see clearly no headstock. Basically everything is done through the bridge. So what I'm going to do now is what you want to hear most. I'm going to fire it up with some distortion, and I'll run through my setup after this. Okay, so after what you just heard, that's probably the biggest pro to the guitar. This guitar, quite honestly, sounds much better than I expected to. Even in clean tone, which I'll throw up at the end of this video, or maybe I'll put a link right across here. I'll put some clean tone up so you can hear it. It sounds really good. With clean tone, it actually sounds very Fender Stratish. Like you play Under the Bridge, and it sounds amazing on this headless, like looking like it's ready to rip guitar. So it's kind of wonky to see somebody playing music like that on a guitar like this, but it nevertheless sounds really good. Some other pros are obviously it's headless. That's super cool, man. Like you pull that out and people look at this guitar and they go, that is something that I have never seen before, or I've only read about, and I've got to try it. So it's kind of cool to have that. Another cool feature is the way that the actual guitar is shaped. One of the things I never thought about is playing classical style. When you do, this portion of the guitar actually sits into your thigh and rests here, and then this portion of the guitar rests against your other leg, so the guitar sits up like this, and it's extremely comfortable to play like that. Hard to explain until you actually try it, but I think you'll find that it's very smooth. Another thing that's super cool is the back of the neck. The maple is very nice. It's smooth. The neck isn't thin and it isn't fat. It's kind of somewhere in between. But to me, it has a very good feel to it. The pickups, again, it goes hand in hand with the sound, are actually really good. I was kind of surprised at how good. It's also coil tapped. Okay, you can see right there the push-pull switch. The coil tap doesn't do very much when the switch is in the neck position. As you come back to the bridge position, you can hear more of a tonal difference. So, as far as that, I certainly wouldn't weigh that as a pro. So let's take a look at the cons. All right, so some of the cons with this guitar. One of the things you may have noticed by now, even through me holding it here, is that the woods are different colors. If you look, this side is clearly much darker than this side. It's a two-piece. It's easier to tell from the back. I don't even have to point it out to you there. It's clear that this piece is considerably darker than this piece. Obviously, no one really looks at the back, so when you look at the front of the guitar, it's noticeable from certain angles and more pronounced depending on which way you're holding the guitar. Now that I've pointed it out, you won't be able to take your eyes off of it. So that's probably my biggest gripe. The closer the guitar is, the more noticeable it is as well. When you hold the guitar back, you're less likely to see it. Is it something that I'm like rabid about? No. If it bothered me that much, I would probably just tape it off and spray it matte black and be done with it. But overall, it doesn't seem to bother me too much. Another con to the guitar is the frets. You probably won't be able to pick this up if I hold it close to the mic, but they're a little sharp. Not sharp, but I think rough is more the correct term. So they could benefit from a leveling and a filing and even a crowning on the edges. They're not really bad, They're on par with other guitars that you're going to find from China. Even my Jackson Kelly, which is hanging on the wall over here, it could stand some basic fretwork. So I wouldn't let that be the sole reason that I didn't buy one. Another con is, and this is going to be very difficult to tell from the video, but the bridge is not quite, you can see, there you go, perfect. If you look at it right here, pay attention right here, you can see the light actually shining through when I hold it up against the white wall. See it? The screw underneath this saddle right here is not screwed down all the way. And it's an easy fix. It's not a big deal. When I go to string it up, I can simply pull that saddle back and tighten that screw down. So not an end-all be-all, but again, something that quality control would probably pick up if it was anywhere else but China. You know, again, those are probably my single biggest gripes on the guitar so far. There's a few other odds and ends that I'm going to go over next, just a couple of cool things, and we'll call it a day. All right, so here's a couple of things that I just wanted to go over real quick about this guitar that are actually really cool. I wouldn't call them a pro to the guitar, but there's something that the manufacturer did that to me kind of takes it a step up. All right, one of them is these fret markers, and this of course will be hard to see with the webcam, but the fret markers glow in the dark. Okay, so it's kind of hard to tell from here, especially with my webcam focusing in and out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a picture up right now of the fret markers glowing in the dark, and there is a black light hit to them, but ultimately they're pretty cool, man. It's a really cool thing to have on a cheapo guitar, and it's something that I've really only seen on some of the more expensive boutique guitars. And last but not least, you're probably wondering, how do you tune this friggin' thing? Okay, and oddly enough, it's a pain in the ass, but it's not that bad at the same time, and it's kind of cool. So the way it works is the bridge has a small crank that literally slides into it. Okay, you can see it right here. This little crank handle. Again, webcam struggling to focus on it. But the way that works is it has the Allen key portion on this side, and you put it in here, and you just turn. Okay, and you just move from string to string, and turn. And then the other super cool thing is it is magnetic. So when you go to put it back, you're not going to lose it. All right, and that was something that I really thought was actually kind of cool. You know, you buy one of these guitars and you expect very little, at least I did. Anytime I buy anything from China, I'm not expecting a quality product or particularly any innovation. Okay, and you know, actually all in all, this guitar to me, for what I paid for it, is really cool. I've been playing it a lot lately. I've had a lot of people asking me about it, and just the attention and everything that it brings is more than worth the $259 that I paid for it. So you can literally go right now. AliExpress, the price has kind of jumped up a little bit. I saw them around $350, but you can search eBay for them, and I believe there's a seller that has them on there now at like $279.99. My opinion, worth it. But of course, it depends on who you ask. You can find people who buy these guitars and they just complain about every single little thing about them. Part of the fun is indeed working on them. So what I'm going to do the next time when I go to replace the strings is I'm going to level the frets and file them down a little bit and probably crown them up a little bit and make this guitar a real shredder. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my review, and you never know, you may end up with one yourself. Take care.